Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to the first race here for the Aquila Formula 1000. My name is Dan Paples, and I'll be guiding you through all the action here this weekend, live from the Aquila Formula 1000. We're lining up for race number 1. We've had qualifying earlier this morning, and that qualifying was a wet qualifying. You might have seen it on our different social media channels, but it was Joel Granfors who took pole position, a 1:25.686. He was 1.2 seconds ahead of the driver in P2, and that was also our pole sitter for the junior class, Dante Johansson. Kevin Sørensen, the leader in the championship, he is in P3 for the start of this race. Then it's Victor Carlson in P4, ahead of Andreas Skattebo in P5. Alexia Danielsson, the first of our two lady drivers on the grid here, so the first of our two women drivers in P6 in the number 161. Then it's Robin Höfström in the 61 and P7. Louise Larsen, second of our two women drivers here in the series. She joined for this weekend. She starts from P8, a good first qualifying for her. Then it's Elias Arestam in P9. Not the best qualifying for him. He had problems with his rear left wheel bearing. That was loose, and that is why he's down there in P9. Then in P10, Rodrigo Seabra from Brazil. I say Brazil, it's from Portugal. Rodrigo Seabra, of course, in P10. Fredrik Lindholm in P11, and Oscar Melstig in P12. Christian Loven in P13. Keep an eye on him. He always has amazing starts. Carl Svensson in P14, P15 for Johan Varland, and P16 for Jonathan Lander. That is how the grid is going to be lining up. Joel Granfors will lead us away from the pole position. We came here earlier in the season as well. That race, if we look at the finishing position earlier at this track, was won in race 1 by Joel Granfors as well, the man who's now on the pole position. We're waiting for the 5 red lights to go on at the back of the grid. The green flag will be waved. That is now. So we're going to be waiting for the 5 red lights to come on. There's the 5-second board on the left-hand side of screen. Waiting. There's light 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. It's lights out, and we're green. A good start for Joel Granfors. An even better one for Dante Johansson. Keep him in mind. Our pole sitter for the junior class. Behind him, it's Kevin Sørensen, the Danish driver. A good start for him. Down the turn 1 to the inside. Doesn't quite get it. The whole field seemingly getting through clean. 15-minute races, of course, plus 1 lap. So when the clock hits 0, we'll do 1 extra lap, and that is when the race finishes. A good start, so from Kevin Sørensen. Victor Carlson behind that, keeping in touch as well in the number 44. Andreas Skattebo in the number 14. Keep an eye on him. A good start so far for everyone down into the hairpin. This is a position where you can overtake. We've seen amazing races so far this season, and Dante Johansson is on the back of Joel Granfors. We know that it's usually a couple of tenths that is in between those two once we get to the finish flag, and that seems to be the case now as well. Dante Johansson on the back of Joel Granfors. A very successful driver, Joel Granfors, in the number 5. Keep an eye on him. There he is. To the inside, has a look, but couldn't quite overtake him there, and that loses him a couple of tenths. Joel Granfors has a bit of a gap now coming on to the start-finish straight. Now it's Kevin Sørensen's chance to catch up to him. He is in the slipstream, but so is Dante Johansson, and he's going to have a look to the inside of turn 1. As we look further back into the field, Louise Larsen, she started P8. There's the dive on the inside from the number 9. That is Kevin Sørensen. Does he get to P1? At the moment, he's on the insides of Joel Granfors. He gets him. And it's also Dante Johansson who was on the inside of him as well. Coming out of turn 2 now. There we can see, I think, he hasn't got him. I think it's still Joel Granfors who is ahead of him, and indeed it is. Coming down into the hairpin now, but you can see that slipstream effect from P3, basically from the straight, starting about 3-4 car lengths back, down into turn 1. It was P1 for Kevin Sørensen, leader in the championship. You can see why. An amazing dive down at the turn 1, and he gets P1 with that dive. 12 minutes left, a bit more in this race. We've had one lap now, coming on to the second lap, so let's have a little bit of a look through the field then. It's Joel Grunfors who led across the line. Now that is Kevin Sørensen ahead of Joel Grunfors and Dante Johansson into P3. That top three still together, and I think it might be Joel Grunfors having a little look at Dante Johansson down into turn 1. Dante Johansson, of course, in the blue car. Joel Grunfors in the black one to the inside of the 9, and he gets him into turn 1. That was a pretty textbook move. And it's exactly what he needed. Kevin Sørensen down into P2, but this is what we're going to see for this whole race, basically. And this is what we have seen for the season so far. Amazing battles at the front. Kevin Sørensen now to the inside of the hairpin on Joel Grunfors. And he gets him. That is back up into P1 in the position where you didn't really expect it. He has a bit of a straight, and he made it stick on the inside. It is Victor Carlson behind it in the 44, hanging on to it. And then it's already Elias Adestam up into P6. A amazing comeback drive from him. 2.9 seconds back on this lead group. He's in the number 3. Behind him it's Alexia Danielsson in P7, the first of our lady drivers here this weekend. Of course, she had a pole position earlier in the season as well. 16 drivers are here this weekend. The 5 of Joel Grunfors to the outside of Kevin Sørensen now. And it's once again going to be a textbook move for 3 wide going into turn 1. Who's going to come out ahead? It's going to be Joel Grunfors. And is Dante Johansson going to be able to have a look? No, he is not. But this is amazing racing at the front of the field, at the sharp end of this field. Joel Grunfors once again to the lead of the race. A little bit further back in the field, the quickest lap actually for Elias Adestam was quickest yesterday during testing here at Gelleråsen, and that proves to be the same here today again. The inside once again into the hairpin for Sørensen. Doesn't get it this time round though. Joel hanging it round the outside, the inside now then for the left-hander. And he's going to get it. Dante Johansson having a little bit of a look as well. Elias Adestam in the background gets up into P5, moves past Andreas Klattebo and is now up into P5. The left hand is going to be a tricky one. Gets him though, is ahead and is now up into P5. Sees the lead group ahead of him. They're fighting. That is allowing him to gain time. Of course, we know that last time out, like I said a bit earlier on, Friday, he was quickest here during testing, and that is boding well for him now. Back through the start-finish line, we go the inside once again for Sørensen. This is what we have seen so far, and this is amazing racing. The inside once again, Dante Johansson patiently waiting behind the 3 of Elias Adestam. Had a little bit of a look to the inside of Victor Carlson. Has been driving a lonely race so far, but now has company of the number 3. And he's got to defend now. For how long can he hang on to that position? The inside is going to be defended, I reckon, by 9. No, it's not. Sørensen leaves it open into the hairpin and he gets overtaken. That is a textbook move. The inside also for Dante Johansson. A bit of a look. Can't get past though the outside. The exit better for Sørensen, and he gets back up into P2. If we look a little bit further down the field in P14, dropping all the way down into P14, it is Louise Larsen. She started, of course, in that P14 spot. She is on the back of Fredrik Lindholm now. And like I said earlier on, Christian Loven off the start gained actually quite a couple of positions. Great start for him so far. Last time we were here, earlier in the season, he went from last place to P8 at turn 1. And at the moment, if I look at my timing screen, he's in P10. But looking at my timing screen, I can't do for too long. The 9 of Sørensen to the outside of the 5 of Joel Grunfors. And once again, Joel Grunfors hangs on to that position, carries it round the outside. So much respect between these drivers. Turn 2, though, is a corner where you can't stick it round the outside. Also, if you look a bit further back, Elias Adestam has got past Victor Carlson. He's up into P4, all the way from P9. That problem in qualifying has hampered him a lot. He's now in P4. To the inside goes Dante Johansson of Sørensen, and he gets him this time round. Sørensen now back into P3, I reckon. Carries it round the outside, as manages to keep it on the inside, but now Dante Johansson to the front and up into P2. A good start for him so far, and a good start to the weekend. Back where he started, the top three, back to how they started the race. Look in the background though, that is the three of Elias Adestam coming back onto that leading group. This is exactly what he wanted. Talked to Elias Adestam earlier today after qualifying, and he said, I reckon if the top three keep fighting, that I do indeed have a chance to catch back up to them. Here we go, down into turn one. Once again, it is Gronfors leading like he did on lap one for the last time, really. And for once, they actually hold position into turn one. The slipstream playing an effect there for Dante Johansson as well. This is allowing Joel Gronfors to build up a little bit of a gap. 6/10 it was when they came across start-finish. And this is beautifully allowing the three of Elias Adestam to catch back up to them. A little bit further back in the field, there are battles between Alexia Danielsson and Andreas Skottebo as well. He's dropped down all the way to P6. Victor Carlson ahead of him now as well. Those two have had an amazing fight. Here she is. Here's Alexia. She had some trouble yesterday during testing with an oil leak on that car. That appeared to be the oil filter, so that was fixed. Had a bit of a contact in practice with Louise Larsen because of the oil on her brakes, but all has been fixed and she's able to run this race, and she's at the moment in P7 driving an incredible drive so far. Looking a little bit further down the field, Christian Love has been troubled by a lot of mechanical failures this season. At the moment, hanging on to a beautiful top 10 finish, but to the outside of turn one, it is Dante Johansson who's challenging Joel Gronfors down at the turn one, and he actually moves up into the lead. And Joel Gronfors back into P2 now under pressure from Kevin Sørensen. Elias Adestam dropping down a bit on the leading group now, 2.3 seconds. That's what you get when they actually don't fight for a lap. Down into the hairpin now. Who's going to go for the move? It is Sørensen on the inside of Gronfors, but he's going to carry it around the outside. He's going to get the speed. Incredible respect between these drivers. The better speed out of the corner for Joel Gronfors, and he gets to the inside, manages to keep that going, and that inside will be defended, and he keeps P2. So vital for the move down into the last corner. 5 minutes now to go, plus 1 lap. So when we go across start finish line with 1 second to go, we will have 2 more laps. That is the beauty of that plus 1 lap format. Coming down into the last corner now. A bit of a gap actually for Dante Johansson. And it's more Kevin Sørensen on the back of Joel Gronfors to the inside now of turn one. Are we going to have another 3 wide moment? Dante Johansson defends the inside. The inside now left open. Kevin Sørensen is going to dive down the inside, and he's going to get it. Joel Gronfors is going to try and follow him through as well. The better speed through the corner for Joel Gronfors, and he gets up his inside. What a move from the Swedish drivers. It's also Louise Larsen trying to make her way up the field. She's just passed Fredrik Lindholm to get back up into P13. Gap for her now to the next driver is about 2.5 seconds. A little bit further down the field, there's a beautiful battle going on between Alexia Danielsson and Christian Skottebo. It's actually Alexia who's overtaken Christian. To the inside now went Joel Gronfors, is going to get it. Joel Gronfors back up into the lead of the race, and Dante Johansson back into P3 actually. He dropped all the way down, and that was on the exit of the left-hander. Just didn't get the traction down as well as the two in front of him did. That cost him 2 positions there. Kevin Sørensen to the outside of turn one again. This is amazing fighting by the top 3. If they keep doing what they are doing right now, this is going to allow Elias Adestam to catch back up and make a 4-horse race of it. It is Joel Gronfors defending, elbows out this time. That allows Dante Johansson a look on Kevin Sørensen. Doesn't get it. Kevin Sørensen, we know that he's quick on exits. Really focuses on the mid-corner speed. Also coaches some of these drivers. Elias Adestam, who coaches Rodrigo Seabra from Portugal. So some of these drivers driving and coaching some of the drivers, which is the beauty of this Aquila Formula 1000. To the inside now for Kevin Sørensen, doesn't get it. Again, beautiful defense by Joel Grunfors, knows exactly where to put that car. Dante Johansson does as well to the inside now of Kevin Sørensen, and he gets that position back up into P2. These three have been jostling for position now. The gap last time round at start finish was 1.4. The gap now, this time at start finish, will be about 1.5. Look in the background, the number 3 of Elias Adestam has about 2 minutes to catch back up and to try and get a podium of one of these drivers. A beautiful drive so far by the 3 of Elias Adestam. Surely has a bit of slipstream now, so does Dante Johansson, goes to the front of the field, and this is all setting up now basically for that last lap. Look at that, there's Elias Adestam, he's got back up to the group now. It's a 4-horse race, and Elias Adestam is going to be right on the back of Kevin Sørensen. These three have now all of a sudden got to think about that 3 in their mirrors. That is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger for the remainder of this race basically. And now has become so big that they can see him right behind them. Kevin Sørensen has got to watch out now. You don't want to be in that position. It's Grunfors who's lost the lead to Dante Johansson. And remember, he's the junior leader as well. Dante Johansson is leading the rookie championship, and he could wrap up that rookie championship here this weekend. He could do that tomorrow with a victory here today. He puts himself in a prime position to do so. 1 minute left, returning about 1 minute 16 lap time. So we will have 2 laps left once we come across start finish. And across start finish it will be Dante Johansson leading us away. Do you want to be leading into that last lap, or do you want to be P2? You never know. You have the back straight where you can overtake down into the hairpin, then you have turn 1 when you can overtake. So you don't really know where you want to be. Joel Grunfors knows where he wants to be, and that is the front of the field. Is going to get it though. That is the question down in the turn 1. A beautiful, stellar defense put up by Dante Johansson, and that allows also Kevin Sørensen to get past the 3 of Elias Adestam, still waiting in the background, seeing if something goes wrong. He's there to pick up the pieces. Joel Grunfors now from P1 earlier in the race down to P3. Dante Johansson to the outside now, the hairpin. Or to the inside of the hairpin. It's Kevin Sørensen to the outside of the hairpin. That allows Grunfors to try and get a run on him. He gets P2 off him. Too busy with what's happening in front of him. Now Elias Adestam to the outside of Kevin Sørensen, doesn't get it. He's patiently waiting. The exit now for Elias Adestam is going to go down the inside, the left-hander. Not quite, he's going to wait his game. We're going to come on to the last lap. Clock has hit 0. That means this time when we come across start finish, it'll be the last lap. The question is, who's going to go into that last lap leading? It was leading on to this lap, Dante Johansson, leader in the rookie championship, leader of the junior class, is going to go leading into the last lap. Lap number 12 at Gelleråsen Arena. And Dante Johansson to the inside, defending from Joel Grunfors. Is he going to get it this time? Did exactly the same last time round. That allowed Kevin Sørensen through. It looks to be the same this time round, but now it is Elias Adestam trying to follow him through as well. He's not going to get it, but Dante Johansson in such a strong position, coming on to the back straight. If he doesn't get overtaken there, that basically means that he should be safe coming on to this last couple of corners. Dante Johansson to the inside, defense. Kevin Sørensen, defense to Joel Grunfors. Elias Adestam patiently waiting. Has been able to catch back up, but you know what they say in racing. Catching up is 1, overtaking is 2. Joel Grunfors to the inside of Kevin Sørensen, doesn't get in. They're going to go side by side through the left-hander. Surely this is not going to stick. It is though for Kevin Sørensen on the outside, the inside for the right-hander, the triple right-hander. Who's going to get it? It's going to be a run down to the line, but one thing will be sure, and that is that Dante Johansson will win race 1 here at Gelleråsen. It's going to be a run down to the line. Elias Adestam pick that podium of Joel Grunfors. He's off the podium, starting from the pole position. What a drive from Elias Adestam, coming all the way down from P9 up into the podium. Did exactly the same in the Next Gen Cup a week ago at the Nürburgring. started from P14 after lap 1 and worked his way back up to P3. Does the same magic that he did there here this weekend at Gelleråsen Arena. He gets P3 and it's Sörensen in P2. But what a story. Dante Johansson leading the rookie championship and winning this race here, race number 1 at Gelleråsen Arena. A monumental drive from the Swedish driver. It's Kevin Sörensen, the Dane, in P2, and Elias Adestam coming through in P3. Incredible drive. Joel Grönfors from pole position down into P4. It was all setting up for that last lap, and in the end, setting up who did it best? Well, Dante Johansson. Andreas Skottebo in P5 ahead of Alexia Danielsson in P6, P7 for Victor Karlsson, and P8 for Rodrigo Seabra. Then P9 for Robin Hevström, and P10 for Christian Loven, coming all the way down from P13. Good drive and good start for him. But once again, he's the man of the starts. Keep an eye on him tomorrow as well for the starts. Then in P11, Oskar Melstig. In P12, Carl Svensson, Fredrik Lindholm in P13. Louise Larsson, her first race out in these Aquila Formula 1000s. She qualified all the way up in P8. Sadly for her, dropped all the way down into P14. Johan Valand in P15 and Jonathan Ölander in P16. Here we have the classification then. Like I said, Dante Johansson winning 7/10 ahead of Kevin Sörensen. Look at the gap though between him and Elias Adestam from P9. Almost scratched up a P2. Couldn't quite do it, but is very happy with a podium. 56 thousandths of a second between those two. And if we cover the top 4, those are all within a second. That tells you what the Aquila Formula 1000 is all about. That's all you need to know. Here is from 11th down to P16, Oskar Melsting. Good race for him. Carl Svensson in P12, Fredrik Lindholm in P13, Louise Larsson from P8 all the way down to P14 in her first ever race in these Aquila Formula 1000 cars. Not too bad of a result, I would say. Getting used to these cars, and these are cars that are not easy to get the hang of. Once you've got the hang of them though, they're very nice to drive. Well then, you might ask me, what is the plan for tomorrow then? Well, tomorrow we have 2 more races for you on the schedule, and that is at 9 in the morning. So 9 local time, 9 Central European Summer Time, and then race 3 will take place just after lunch here at the Gelleråsen Arena at 13:20 local time, so 13:20 Central European Summer Time. This has been it from me, from Don Papels, and from the Aquila Formula 1000s from Gelleråsen for day 1. A beautiful day, a day that had rain, a day that had spins, a day that had sunshine, and a great race 1. If this is anything to go off, I would definitely not want to miss tomorrow. Until tomorrow though, stay safe and we'll see you then. Bye bye.